Hey guys, it's Hogan here, and in this step-by-step tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a print-on-demand e-commerce website using WooCommerce and Printify. But first of all, what exactly is print-on-demand? So print-on-demand is essentially where you're able to design custom designs on specific products, and you are able to import those products onto your own e-commerce website, which I'll be showing you guys how to build. And if you actually sell those products, then the print-on-demand company, for example, Printify, will help print these designs on those products. They'll pick it, they'll pack it, and they'll ship it directly to your customers. So the benefit of this is, number one, you don't have to hold any inventory. Number two, you don't have to deal with any logistics. For example, you don't have to store it in your own garage or warehouse and ship it yourself. Everything is handled by the print-on-demand company. So this is great because there is very low overhead and you can design a lot of different products, from clothing, from candles, from mugs, even home decor and canvases. So this business model is really great for beginners who want to get started with e-commerce and you don't want to do any drop shipping where you aren't selling any unique products. And especially with the tariffs going on with the United States and China, it's very uncertain. But with these print-on-demand companies, a lot of these factories will be printing from your local country, for example, United States, and they'll be shipping from there. This is also great for influencers and creators who want to sell your own merchandise, but you don't really want to get too hands-on with it because you still want to focus on your content, not on all the other logistics that come with creating your own merchandise. So this creates a very easy way to actually get started, and I'm going to show you guys everything step by step. So in this video, we're going to be going through everything that you need to know from getting your website online, such as getting your domain name and your hosting, then setting up and installing WooCommerce and WordPress. Then I'll show you guys how to connect to Printify, which is the print-on-demand service. I'll show you guys how to customize your different designs on different products and add it onto your store. I'll show you guys how to design and customize your website with a drag and drop builder. I'll also show you guys how to set up email marketing, which is really important for all e-commerce websites. I'll show you guys how to collect emails, send emails, as well as set up automated campaigns. Then finally, I'll show you guys how to set up your payment and shipping. So by the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional print-on-demand e-commerce website ready to take orders. So if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section below. I'll leave all the links in the YouTube description, as well as the timestamps to each of the different sections, so you can also skip to any part of the video. So without much further ado, let's jump on the computer and get started in the tutorial. So step number one, we'll need to get our domain and web hosting. But first of all, what is web hosting? Web hosting is essentially a server or a computer that is on 24/7 that allows us to store our website's files on there. For example, your website's images and text, allowing people all around the world to access your website anytime. So the next thing we'll need is going to be your domain name, and that's your website's name. For example, yourname.com, yourstore.com, or google.com and apple.com. So every single website will need those two things, and luckily we can get that at Hostinger inexpensively and also very, very easily. You can access that by clicking on the first link in the YouTube description, or you can go to hoganchua.com/Hostinger. Okay, so this over here is Hostinger, and we can get started for as little as $3 per month. You can also change the language here if English isn't your native language. So you can select it and the interface and dashboard will be translated, as well as some additional payment options specific for your country may be available to you as well. So let's just close that and we can scroll down here. We can click on Claim Deal. And here we have 3 different plans that you can choose from. Normally, I recommend most people for e-commerce to use the business plan. You can host up to 50 different websites on there. So basically, you just have to purchase a new domain and you can add it on. So you can have up to 50 websites. You have 50 gigabytes of storage. And with the business plan, you have the free CDN, which basically allows your website to load a lot quicker all around the world. And you also have your daily backups included. So if you're happy with it, then we can click on Choose Plan. On the left here with the period, so this is how long do you want the plan for. I generally recommend either 12 months or longer because the month-to-month deal is actually quite expensive because you start off paying $14 per month with a setup fee, and you don't get a free domain name. So if you change it to 12 months, that is around $47, $48. And you can also use a coupon code to give you guys another discount on top of that. If you click on apply, that's going to save you a few extra dollars, especially a little bit more if you do go for a longer term as well. So once you're happy with that, you can click on continue, and you do get your free domain for the first year with the order. So let's click on continue. Here we have the option to enter your email address and password. You can also register using your Google account as well. Click on next and enter in your password. Enter in your name and your contact details and your address. Scroll down and then click on continue. Next, you'll need to enter in your card information. You can also pay via PayPal or Google Pay, Apple Pay, as well as Alipay. So once you're ready, you can click on submit. Let's click on get started. So here I'm going to select myself or my business and then click on next. Here I'm going to create a website. Click on next. And we're going to install WordPress. Click on next. So what we need now is to create our login details for our WordPress website. So enter in the email that you do want to log in with, as well as a password. So you need to remember this password because this is going to log into the back end of your website to make edits. Once you're ready, click on next. And I'm going to select create a blank site. Over here, we can select a domain name. So this is going to be your website's name. I'm going to do Hogan's tutorial. It might not be available, so you do need to be a little bit more creative. Okay, so hoganstutorial.com. So it is available. If it is, then we can click on next. And what we do need is more information to register our domain. So we're going to click on personal for now, but you can select a company if you do have a company. Click on next. Enter in your contact details and then click on finish registration. Here is asking you where do you want your data center to be. So basically the closer the data center to your audience, the better it is. Basically your website can load really quickly because therefore the distance for your data to travel is going to be less. So with the business plan, we do have the CDN, so it doesn't matter as much. But I'm still going to choose one which is closest to me, which I'm based in Australia. So therefore, I'm going to choose Singapore. If your main visitors and audience is the United States, then you might pick the United States. So let's click on install WordPress. So if you decide to change the data center later, I do believe you can change it as well. So you don't have to think too much about it right now. Just pick one and then click on install WordPress. Okay, congratulations. We've finished installing WordPress on our website that we've gotten from Hostinger. And this is the back end of our WordPress website. So this is basically where you edit your website. And if we hover on the top left-hand side, we can click on visit site. So this is the front end. So right now it's quite plain. We do need to add our themes and plugins and set it all up, which I'll show you. So let's click on back over here. So this is going to be the back end of your WordPress website. On the top right, we can click on go to Hostinger, and that's going to take us to our Hostinger dashboard. This is basically where we control our hosting plans and our domains, as well as you can set up a professional email here on the back end. And this is our website here. So if you ever want to add a website, you can. If you want to add a new hosting plan, you can. This is where you do that. Over on our website here. So for example, I'm going to show you guys how to actually log in manually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say, log out again. So generally what you'll need to do, it is going to be like this. So let's just delete that. So this is going to be your domain. So right now it is showing the preview domain. I think in a few minutes or maybe within a few hours, it's going to update to your full domain name, which is hoganstutorial.com. Okay, so you just need some time to actually register. Here we need to type in wp-admin, and that's going to take you to this login page here. So this is where you'll need to log in to edit your WordPress website. What I do recommend is actually bookmarking that. So then you can just enter in your email here. So for example, parallaxdemo91@gmail.com, and then enter in the password that you set in earlier. Click on login. Okay, so that's going to log us in. You can also go to the Hostinger dashboard and click on the WordPress admin, and that's going to take you to the same area as well. Okay, so as you can see, I do believe our domain name is now fully set up. And sometimes you do get an email to ask you to verify your details as well with Hostia, confirm your email address. You may want to do that. So I don't think right now we do have that email. So let's just leave it as that. But right now, what I'm going to go through is the basic WordPress settings. So we can click on dashboard, and this is going to be a main dashboard area. You can actually control the look of it. You can dismiss it if you don't want it to show. You can also minimize it as well. If you want to fully hide it, then you can go to screen options on the top right hand side, and we can hide the things that we don't want, because sometimes when you install themes and plugins, it can get quite messy. So I'm just going to hide everything for now. You may want to keep some depending on what you want to show. So let's just close that. And if we scroll down over here, one of the first things that I like to do is hover over settings and then go to permalinks. I want to make sure that the permalink structure is always set to post name, because you want the title and you also want your post to have the title in the actual URL, because that's going to be best for search engine optimization purposes, for example, ranking on Google. Then once you've set that in, then we can click on Save Changes. We can also go to the Users tab, and here we can add in new users. So if you want to add people to sort of control your website, or people handling customer support, or your e-commerce activities, you can add the users in here. You can also click into your current user and edit the password, as well as changing the admin color scheme. So you can set that up and then click on Update Profile. Plugins is essentially sort of apps that you can add onto your website to add additional functionality to your website. Appearance is where we're going to be adding our themes. So pages is basically going to be your about page, your contact page, shipping pages. Let's click into that. Over here, we have the draft policy page, and we've also got the post. So the post is going to be your blog post. So blog posts are good for sort of creating content to drive traffic to your website. The other thing that we want to do now is, because as you can see, our website is quite plain, is we want to go ahead and add some themes as well as adding some plugins. To add in the theme, we'll need to navigate to the dashboard of our WordPress website, and we need to hover over appearance here. We can click on themes. So right now we do have the 2025 theme. We can also update that to make sure everything is actually updated, because that's really important. Let's go to add new theme, and we can go to upload theme. We're going to choose file, and here we're going to upload the themify.shop theme. So this theme is going to be in the description below this video, and you can download it onto your computer. So while you're there, you can also download the plugins that we're going to be using in this tutorial, which is going to be the builder WooCommerce.zip. So that's going to allow us to add our products anywhere on our website, as well as download the builder contact, which is going to be our contact form. So download those onto your computer first, and I'll show you guys how to install that later. Let's install the theme first. So over here, select the theme and then click on open. Make sure to upload the .zip file. If it does come into a folder, for example, some computers might automatically unzip it, then you need to right click it and compress it back into the zip file, and then upload and open that. Click on install and then click on activate. So what I'm going to do is click on generate child theme. So this is for later on, if you ever need to update your themes and the PHP functions, then essentially what that's going to do, it's those settings will be saved when you actually update your theme. So you can just click on generate child theme and activate that as well. Okay. And here we can actually choose from the skins and demos. Right now we do have the default one. You can choose the other ones, but I'll be walking you through this one over here. So you can select that and change it later on if you want to as well. But we're going to go ahead, just upload the defaults and just click on close here. Next, what we'll do is we'll also upload the plugins. So make sure to download the two plugins in the description below, which is the Builder WooCommerce and the Builder Contact. We can click on add new plugin. And here we're going to upload a plugin So plugins are essentially a sort of like an app, but for your website. It adds extra functionality. So right now, the website doesn't have any sort of e-commerce functionality. Once we actually add WooCommerce, it's going to add all of those functionalities. So it works pretty much the same as an app on your phone. So we're going to choose File, and we're going to upload the Builder WooCommerce. This is going to allow us to add in the products anywhere on our website. Let's click on Install Now and activate plugin. Next, we're going to add the contact, which is going to allow us to add in our contact form and edit our contact form really easily. So click on builder contact.zip and open, install, and activate. So once that is done, we're going to add the WooCommerce plugin. So click on add new plugin. Here, we're going to search for WooCommerce and then click on enter. So it's going to be this one over here, WooCommerce by Automatic. It should have millions of installations. Then click on Install Now and click on Activate. So sometimes after when you've installed WooCommerce, it might pop up with a setup wizard, and you can go through that and install what it recommends, as well as creating a WordPress account and things like that. In this case, it actually didn't pop up, but what I'm going to do is I'll show you guys the WooCommerce settings a little bit later on. So after you've installed WooCommerce, it should show up in your WordPress dashboard area here. So you can click into that, and it's going to show you basically the things that you need to do next to basically configure the settings. So a lot of the different settings, which we'll be walking through later on, such as the shipping and the payments, are going to be controlled over here. So I'll be walking you through that step by step later on. So what I want to show you guys now is actually how to add in your pages. So if we navigate to the website, so we can visit site and check the home page, this is exactly what it looks like. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to add in your pages and how to configure your static homepage, which is very important. To create our pages, we need to navigate to our dashboard area. Then we can hover over here, pages, and we can click on all pages. So here are the pages that have been created by WooCommerce. So these are the necessary pages, your cart page, checkout pages. Let's leave those. And what we want to do is click on add new page. Click on close here. For the title, we're going to title it home and then click on publish on the top right. And we need to click on publish again. Unless you don't want to do that, you can deselect this, always show pre-published checks. So we can click on publish just one time and the pages will be published. So once that is done, we can click on view page to view that page. So this is the page over here and it's added here temporarily. Let's go back to our dashboard and let's add in a few more pages. Click on pages, click on add new page. So let's create a contact page. Click on publish. So as you can see, that page has been published because we've deselected the pre-published check. So if you want to add a new page, you can go also back here to view pages and then click on add new again. So right now we're going to create a shipping page. So this could be a shipping FAQ. You can create as many pages as you need, like for example, a returns and a refunds page, a about page, which we will create. So let's go back over here and maybe create an about page and click on publish. Once you've finished adding in all your pages and you're happy with that, we can navigate to our home page, so the front end of your website. And what we need to do is to set in the static home page. So if we click on home, it's going to show /home. So we don't want that. We want the home page to just be our domain like that, Hogan's tutorial. So to do that, we need to go to customize. Then we need to click on homepage settings, select a static page. For the home page, we want to select home and then click on publish. Then we can close it. So right now, if we click on the home page, it's going to just be our domain url.com. And that's exactly what we want. So the next thing that I'm going to show you guys how to do is to set up the page layout. So as you can see, the page layout is sort of like a blog. It has a title and then it's also got a sidebar. And if we click on turn on the builder, So if we want to build our layout using the modules on the left hand side, you've sort of got this sidebar here, which is annoying. We don't want that. And you've got this title here. What we want is a completely blank canvas so we can add anything that we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to close that. We're going to navigate to our dashboard again. Navigate to Themify Shop. Click on Themify Settings. And then click on Default Layouts. And then here we're going to edit the default page layout. Click on that. So here for the page layout, we want to select the sidebar option, which is going to be the full width builder page. And we're also going to hide the title. So hide that, and we're also going to disable the page comments. Once we're done, we can click on Save. And we can navigate back here to the home page. Okay, so as you can see, if we turn on the builder, this is going to give us a complete blank canvas to add in anything that we want later on. So let's close that for now. So what I want to show you guys now is how to edit the top navigation menu to set it with the menu items that you want, as well as adding the menu for the footer or the bottom of your website. So to do that, we can navigate to the dashboard area. Then we want to hover over appearance and then click on menus. So here we're going to create your first menu. For the menu name, we're going to name it top nav. So it can be anything that you want, just as long as you know what it is. For the display location, we want it to be the top main navigation area. Then click on create menu. So for the top navigation, on the top, we want to put in our shop page and our about page. So for the shipping and contact, we can put that in the bottom of the website. Click on add menu. Okay, so as you can see, when we tried to add in the menu, it doesn't actually show up. So what I believe the problem is, there is a slight conflict on the plugins. So if we navigate to plugins, what we need to do is we can deactivate the Hostinger AI plugin for now. So just deactivate that if you have that on. You can reactivate it once you have set it up. So what we can actually do is go back to menus. Here we have the top nav. Let's just add in our about page and our shop page, and then click on add menu. So now it is showing up. So that's all good. Let's click on save menu first. Once we have that, then we can right click and visit site just to check if that is working. Okay, so that's working perfectly. Now, how do we add in the menu for the footer or the bottom of your site? Let's navigate back here. So we can navigate to our menu section and edit everything here. We can actually go to the home page over here and click on customize, and we can edit the menu here as well. So if you do have issues editing the menu on the back end, you can edit it here. Click on menus. And as you can see, we have the top nav. Let's create a new menu. Let's do footer nav. And then set this to footer navigation. Click on next. And here we can add in the menu items. So we're going to basically drag in the shipping and the contact. And it's going to display like that. And we're going to make sure that it's set to footer navigation and publish. So once that is done, let's click on back over here. You can also create a new menu as well. So this is for your icons navigation area. For example, we can do icon nav and set it to icon nav here. Click on next. Here we can add items. And let's say, for example, you want to add the my account page. We can set that in. Let's click here. And you can see we have the account showing up in the icon navigation area. So as you can see, it's just plain text. If we click on down here, then you can't actually add in any icons. So you actually have to do that on the back end. Just publish that for now. Let's close it. So let's head back to the dashboard. You can also click on menus directly as well. So here we're going to select icon navigation. Select. And here for the my account, we can click on the drop down. And here it's going to give you a little bit more options to add the icon. So click on insert icon. And we're going to search for user. So we can select user. And then here we can delete this. And I think what we need to do is actually hit spacebar like that. Otherwise, it might not actually show up, I believe. So let's click on Save Menu if you're ready. So once that is done, let's go to Visit Site. So as you can see, we have the My Accounts wish list as well as the cart. And I think that's looking pretty much good to go. So you can also go to Customize, and I want to show you guys how to rearrange your menu, because later on when you add in your products and product categories, you may want to add in a sort of a drop-down menu. Let's click on Menus, click on Top Nav. So to create a drop-down, let's say for example, you want the About to drop down from the shop, click on it, and you can sort of indent it below the shop page. So when you hover over it, it's going to drop down like that. I don't want that, so let's move it back. So for example, if you click on Add Items, here we can add in the different product categories. So right now we don't have any product categories or any categories or any blog post, but you can add those all in later on. So let's click on Publish and let's close that. Okay, congratulations. Our website is pretty much ready to go. We can start building, but what we're going to do is actually connect our website now to Printify, which is the print on demand service. So to get started with Printify, we can just click on the sign up here and you can sign up for free. So you can also log in using your Google account as well. So here is the Printify dashboard area where you can manage everything. So over here, what we need to do first of all is to actually connect our store. So right now I do have another demo store connected, but what we can do here is we can add a new store. So we're going to select the sales channel. This is going to be the WooCommerce website. So select that and just copy your URL to your clipboard and then come back here, paste it in and click on connect. So what we need to do is basically give it authorization to access your store. Click on approve. So basically that's it. Now we're connected and we're ready to go. So let's go to publish your products. So once you've connected your website to Printify, we are ready to make our first design. So you can click on catalog and here we can choose from a range of different products. So for example, let's create our design on a t-shirt. So that's the most simple one. So let's click on that. And the first thing that you probably want to do is you want to choose the shipping location. So for example, this is set to United States. Let's say for example, I'm based in Australia. I might select Australia because therefore we're going to be choosing the suppliers which are closest to our visitors and our customers, ensuring that the shipping times are fast as well as the cost of the shipping is low. So sometimes you may not be able to find a specific supplier that does a specific product and you may need to select some place which is further. That's okay. Then you might need to let your customers know as well as charge a little bit more as well. But let's just say, for example, I want to select Australia. Then here on the right hand side, we have all these different products from sometimes different suppliers. So you got quite a bit of different suppliers, 5 pages of different products. You may want to actually filter it. So on the left hand side, we can actually filter it by color. So sometimes you may want to select a specific color if you have a specific color t-shirt in mind. You can also filter by the print area. So some t-shirts you can print the entire t-shirt. Some you can only print like the back and the front. Some you can actually print on the sort of the inner neck label area. For example, you can print a initials or your name or something like that. You can print in the pocket area. So there's a lot of different products that you can choose from. And you may also want to select and filter by price. So for example, I've tried some of the lower tier pricing. I think the quality isn't as good. I would probably go for at least like the mid-range items, and you can also select the thickness of the fabric. For example, the GSM. Let's say, for example, we want medium fabric or a medium heavy fabric. So then that's going to sort of filter down your products a bit. And we can also go to the brands. So sometimes they actually use, well-known brands such as Adidas, t-shirts. So not with this filter set in. So I'm going to deselect that for now. So let's look for a t-shirt. I'm going to look for something which is maybe this one over here. Okay, so this one only ships from the EU, but I think I like this one. So this one over here has a unique sort of treatment to it, so it might look a little bit different from your normal t-shirts. So I think this one looks quite nice. Okay, so we're going to select this supplier over here. You may want to click in there as well. So for example, the provider information, you want to click on shipping, see how long it actually takes, see if that's something that you want to offer. Okay, so the production over here, we can read more about how they are packaging it. So let's say, for example, you're ready. Then what we can do is click on Start Designing. And I'm going to explore by myself. Click on Got It. So here we have the front side and also the back side. On the left-hand side, we can upload your logos as well as add in text. You can also generate AI images. So let's say, for example, we want to upload. So let's upload our logos that we have created already. Okay, so I'm going to upload all of these onto Printify. So I think I might need to upload that one by one. So if it's a logo, I generally recommend like a SVG file. Basically, when you scale that file up, it doesn't lose any quality. So this is especially good for logos. If you want to upload an image, you can upload like the PNG or JPEG, but you want to make sure that is set to max, and you want to make sure that image is as big as it can be to ensure that it is printed like really well. So I'm going to upload the logo like that, and I'm going to try and upload a few more. So this one over here. Okay, so I actually uploaded a few more logos, as you can see over here. So what I'm going to do is just delete them off the t-shirt for now. Okay, so then let's go to library and let's see which one is going to match the best. I think this one over here. So I'm just going to click into that. All right, and click on backside. Let's go to the library again. I'm going to add just the S. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Maybe move it up on the top in the center like that. Okay, so let's just say you are happy with that. You can also resize it as well. For example, something like that. Then what we could do is we can click on preview to see how that t-shirt looks on a mock-up. Wow, I think it looks quite nice. Let's click on the back, see how that looks. So I think that looks good. Let's click on the person. So I think that looks really nice as well. Over here, if we scroll down, you can go to the mockup background and you can add a background. So I've actually uploaded a background, and this background I found on unsplash.com. So I'm going to click on that and let's see how that looks with this background. I think that looks really nice. So if you're happy with that, you can also download the mockup onto your computer. And once you're ready, we can click on Save Product. Another really cool feature is the Place It by Envato. Let's click on Try It. So it's on the left here, Place It by Envato. And it's going to sort of put that design on specific mockups as well. So what's great about the Place It by Envato is that you can actually choose a very specific demographic. So if you're creating a website, perhaps targeting women, then you can actually set the gender here, as well as the age group, as well as the ethnicity. So if you really want to take your website seriously, because as you can see here, this is just a mock-up on a guy, and obviously if you're targeting women, then it's not really going to speak to them, right? So here we can choose one which is probably most similar to your demographic. For example, this girl over here, we can download that and you can add it to your website. So this is actually a premium service, so you do actually have to sign up for it, but I think it's well worth the money if you do really want to take it seriously. So it really depends on you. If you want to take it seriously, then you can sign up. I think it's like $7 per month. But right now we're just going to go ahead and save selection. And here we can scroll down. So here we have the listing details. You can edit the title as well as the description. And we can scroll down over here. We can also set in the pricing for your products here. So we can click on select all and we can edit price, and we can set in a price for all of them. So let's just say $59, click on apply. It's going to set that price here. So we can also edit the pricing in our WooCommerce website later. So we can set this in for now. And if you do want to edit anything, we can edit that later, which I'll show you. Let's click on publish if we're ready to publish that onto our website. If not, you can save as draft and do that a little bit later. Here, right now, the status is publishing. It's going to take a few minutes for it to actually upload onto our website over here. So it's been a few minutes and I think that should be uploaded. Let's click on the shop page. And as you can see, the t-shirt has been uploaded as a product. So let's click into that. So over here, we have the title, the pricing, everything is uploaded, including the image. So it's pretty much actually ready to go for people to add that to cart. Obviously, we do need to set in the sort of shipping as well as the payment options and design the homepage. But that is really nice. And as you can see, we have all the images as well uploaded like that, also with the mockup. So I think this is really, really cool and it's a great start. So what I'm going to do is actually show you guys how to add in one or two more products so you can actually see more of how to actually use Printify, because sometimes some products are different. And I'll also show you guys how you can add, like, for example, like an image or something like that. All right, so let's design another product. So let's click on catalog and let's design a dress. So let's click in here. Okay, so we can scroll down here and let's go with this one here maybe. Okay, let's click on start designing, explore by myself. Got it. So as you can see here, we have more places that we are able to print on. So let's start from the front side. So here we can generate a AI image that you can sort of add onto your design as well. So for example, we could do a cute cat generate image. And then here we have the AI cat that you can add on to your dress as well. But you can also do a few other things. For example, you can add text manually, and you can also play around with the inbuilt graphics as well as the Shutterstock. So with Shutterstock, you're able to add in these images here. So if you do sell it, then you do have to pay around $1 per sale. So it's sort of like a royalty fee. So let's click on the graphics and let's design maybe just a very simple sort of pattern. For example, this leaf. So we can add that there. And we can also make that a little bit smaller, maybe something like that. And we can also click on the top here, pattern, and turn it into a pattern. So I'm going to expand it a little bit more. Okay, something like that. The back side, also I might do the same. So I'm going to keep it the same design. And then also make it into a pattern like that. So for the front waistband, here you can also add in anything that you want as well. Same with the back waistband. And you also have the whole entire view area as well. Let's just see how that looks right now. Preview. Okay, so I think that is actually looking quite nice. Yeah, I think I actually quite like that type of design. So let's click on edits, select variants. So here you can also select the different variants as well, right, that you do want to actually create for. Okay, so you can select that. So I'm going to just select all of them. Okay, and then you can also change the background color of it as well, right? Let's just click on save product for now. So I think that's looking good. Let's just click on save selection. And this dress is ready. So let's just go ahead and change the pricing. So select all, edit price. So we can edit the price of all of that. So let's do 39 USD, apply. And then we can click on publish. So that is publishing. So now let's create another design. So this design, we might create a hoodie. So let's select one, which is maybe, I think this one here is looking quite nice. So I'm going to select this one. Okay, so we have a lot of different colors to choose from. Click on Start Designing. So here we're going to add a logo. So we're going to add the logo that we added in before, just like that, and the backside. Maybe like that. And what you can do is select the variants. So depending on what color do you want. So for example, let's have a forest color as well as maybe a navy color. And yeah, and then maybe a gray one as well, like that. Okay, so then let's go back here. So basically, if you would like to make a specific design on that specific color, you can do that. So click on Make a Specific Design, because as you can see, it's not very visible. So you do want to change that. So we can delete the original one and we can upload the lighter color one. Okay, so that's more visible. Delete that one as well. Library, and then let's add this one here. I might make it smaller and put it into there, just like that. Okay, same thing for the navy one. Make a specific design. Delete that one. And make that small again. Put that in the middle on the top. Change the front side as well to maybe this one here. So you can make it also specific in terms of size as well. Okay, so I think that looks quite decent. So white, gray, forest green, and navy blue. So let's click on preview. So I think that looks quite nice. Let's click on the green one. Yep, that's looking good. Good. And that's looking good as well. Let's click on Save Product. Let's click on Save Selection. And then we can scroll down. We can edit the price here as well. So select all, edit the price of all these ones. Let's just change it to 89. Apply. I think that's looking good. Then we just click on Publish. So if we head back to our website, this one should already be published and uploaded. So let's navigate to our store. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is add in a few more products. Then I'll show you guys how to add in your products onto your homepage, as well as show you guys how to build out your homepage. In this part of the tutorial, I want to show you guys how to create the hero section for your website. For example, an image with a headline, subheadline, and a button. So let's go ahead and do that. So from here, we want to navigate to our homepage, and then we can turn on the builder. And as you can see, when we hover over this with our mouse, it's going to highlight in purple. So this is going to be the row, and we want to edit that row. So the first thing that we want to do for this row is to add in our background image. So we can hover over here on the top left, and then click on the sort of paintbrush icon, which is the styling. So here we can click on background. For the background type, you can set it as image, gradient, video, or a slider. In this case, I'm just going to add a very simple image. So we can also add in a background color if you don't want to do that. So you can set that in here. But for the background image, we're going to click on plus. Choose files over here, upload files, and select files. So I'm going to select this image here, open, and the size that I have uploaded is roughly around this size. So you do want to keep it around here. You don't want anything bigger than 500 kilobytes, as that is probably a bit too big and it's going to make your website load slowly. Insert file URL, and there you go. So here, what we need to do is we need to expand this image. First of all, we need to change it to full cover. The second thing we can do is we can hover over here, and you can see a light purple highlight. Click it and just drag it. So this is just adding some padding. So I'm going to try and add maybe 250. Okay, so you can actually click into here as well and update that manually. So if you can't see that, you can also go and scroll down, click on padding, and you'll be able to update the padding here. So on the top, it is 250. On the bottom, you want to make it even. So I'm going to do 250 as well. And I think that is looking good. You can also edit the sort of location, okay, like that, of basically where you want that to be focused on. So I'm going to just move it maybe just like that. I think that looks pretty good. Once you're happy with the image, the next thing we can do is just click on save first. And then we can go ahead, click on the text tab and drop it into the orange box. So drop it in there. And then what we could do is I'm going to add in a headline. So elevated style, premium quality apparel. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to paste that text in there and then select the text and set it to heading 1. So generally you only want to set one heading 1 font per page. So this is for search engine optimization purposes. The next thing that we can do is you can go to styling, font, and we can just align the text into the center. And you can also change the font color to white to make it a little bit more visible. Otherwise you can't really see it, right? So change it to white. And I think that is looking okay for now, but we can't really see the text much. So another thing we can do is we can scroll down, click on scroll down over here to the text shadow, not the actual shadow for the row, but the text shadow. And here we can set in a horizontal shadow. Maybe we can do 5 pixels and maybe 5 for that. And then maybe let's try 5 for the blur. And then here, for the color, I'm going to choose black. So that is a bit too harsh. So for the opacity, I can drag it down to maybe 0.5 or maybe a little bit less. Let's just drag it down to maybe 0.3. Yeah, okay, 0.3 or 0.35. I think that is looking good. So that shadow makes that text pop a little bit, and that makes it more visible for your customers when they're scrolling your page. That's really, really important. So once you're happy with that, we can click on done here and just save. Next, we can drag in another text. So just drop it in below there. And here we can add in a subheadline. So I'm going to copy this, made for comfort, perfect for every day. Copy that. So if you're not quite sure with your subheadlines, you can use ChatGPT to help you. Please rewrite 5 different variations of this subheadline for my e-commerce brand. Okay, so you can use ChatGPT to help you a little bit with your sort of your content on your website. Designed for comfort, built for everyday life. I might just do design for comfort, built for every day. Copy that, come back over here, and we can paste and match style. So over here, we're going to click on styling. Again, move it into the middle. Then I'm going to change it to white. Then it's a bit small, so let's update the size. So let's just try 24. Maybe it's still a bit small, so let's do 32, maybe. Okay, I think that's not too bad. Then what we can do again is add the little text shadow here. So let's just do maybe 3, and maybe below is 5. Click on black, and then again do 0.3 for the text shadow. Just a little bit, I think that's enough. And I think that's looking pretty decent. So click on save. The next thing that we can add is a button. So generally you will have a button that links to the shop page or a specific product. So here we have the button, and on the left hand side we can change the button text. So let's just do shop now. For the link, we can link it to our shop page. So if you hover over your shop page here, right click, copy a link address, okay, and just paste it into the link area here. This button will link to that shop page. So generally I'm going to keep it as open in the same window, And the color, so you can change the color of the button as well. You can also scroll down, click on the button appearance, change the shape of the button, as well as the size, as well as the background. Do you want it to be outline, transparent? So I think the solid one is okay for now. And what we can do is just go to styling, font, center align it. And I think that is pretty good. We can also click on the general over here on the top left and click on button link. And we can go ahead and edit the background color of the button as well. So for example, we can change it to pink, purple, yellow, orange. I'm just going to keep it as default for now. So I'll show you guys how to edit the colors and the fonts of your websites a little bit later. So right now we're just going to keep everything as basic as we can, and then we can sort of color the website and style the website a little bit later on. So it just is a lot easier for us. We can click on done and save. So what we can do is click on close. And I think that is a good start. So one more thing that I like to add is a overlay. So we have added the sort of shadow to the text, but we still can enhance the image a little bit better. Click on turn on builder. And then again, we can click on the row styling. And instead of the background here, we want to just add a row overlay. So here we can overlay it with a basic color or a gradient. So here I'm going to do black, okay? And then I'm going to do maybe 0.2 or maybe even 0.1, okay? Just a little bit. You can also do it as a gradient as well. So I think that's looking pretty good. That just enhances the text a little bit and makes it pop a little bit more and makes it more visible and easy for your customers to read. So click on save. And I think that is looking pretty good. So the next section that I want to show you guys is basically how to add in your products onto your homepage. To add in your products, it's very simple, but we will need to make sure that we do have the Builder WooCommerce plugin installed. That is going to be below in the YouTube description. So you'll have to click on show more and download the Builder WooCommerce plugin. So we actually installed it earlier. In case you didn't install it, you have to install it now. So download it and then go to plugins, add new plugin, and upload the plugin, and then install and activate it. Once you have done that, then it should show up here as Builder WooCommerce, and that's going to allow you to basically just add in your products, drag and drop style. So just click on turn on builder. And from here, we want to drop in our products on a new row. So what we're going to do first of all, let's add in a heading in that new row. And then here we can do top selling or top sellers. Here we're going to set it to heading 2. And then go to styling, font, align it into the middle. And let's add 50 pixels in padding or space on the top here. Just like that. And once you're done with that, we can click on done and save. Then we can drop in our products. So here we can scroll down here to add-ons, and we can click here, the Woo products, and drop it in like that. So this is going to display all our products here. So what you can actually do is you can actually filter it by categories. So if you have set in your categories for your products, so for example, I'm going to click on women, then it's just going to show those products that I've set in as the category, like that. So you can also basically exclude certain categories as well. So I'll show you that in a moment. Here we can scroll down. And here we can display the amount of products. So for example, I'm going to display 4 products. Here we can set the layout as 4, grid 4, which basically means it's going to display 4 products over here. So I'm just going to click on save and close it. So as you can see, that's going to display 4 products, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's turn on the builder again. Here I'm going to add a little bit more space between the text and the images there. So I'm going to adjust it to 50 pixels. So I think that looks pretty decent. Let's click into the module again. And you can also change the layout here and play around with it. You can also set in a post filter here. So you click on the drop down, product filter. You can also set that in, and that's going to add a little filter on the top over here, I believe. But right now we don't have much to filter, so it's not showing. We can scroll down over here and you can play around with the display essentially. So you can hide the price as well. You can hide the add to cart thing as well to make it a little bit cleaner. You can also hide the sales badge if these items are on sale. So there's quite a bit that you can play around with in terms of what you actually want to display. You can also go to the type here and set it to be featured products only, or on sale, or top rated. So for the featured products, I'm going to show you guys how to set that in, because I think that's important in case you do want to display only very specific products over here. For example, your top selling products, you can actually manually control that. So let's click on done, save, and close. Then let's navigate to our dashboard. Let's go to products. So to add a featured product, so for example, if we just want to set in a featured product, here we can click on the star and set that in. So that's going to mean that is a featured product. So I'm just going to select maybe 4 products here as the featured products. Now let's head back to visit site, turn on builder. And then here we can click on edit again. For the type, we're going to set featured products. So that's not displaying because we've also set another filter, which is the women's. I'm going to do all categories, save. And then that is going to display our featured products. So we can click on edit as well. Here, styling, if you do want to change sort of the text in here, okay, as well as the pricing, you can go and click on general. And I do believe that is going to be the title. Okay, so you can adjust that as well. So maybe if you want to make it a little bit smaller, let's do 16. You can edit that here as well, right? And you can also change the size to maybe something bigger if you want to, edit the color and things like that. So that's the title. You can edit the price as well, the font, and the button. So you can change perhaps the button color to a specific color if you want to. But I'm going to show you guys how to change it universally a little bit later on. So I'm just going to leave that as default. Let's just go over here and change it back to all products and the categories. Select the women's category, just like that. And then we can click on save and close. So far that looks pretty nice. The next part I want to show you guys is how to create this section over here. So this section, what you can do is you can create it for different categories on your website. So for example, you may have a category selling t-shirts, you might have a category selling other sort of travel accessories or clothing. Then you can create a section like this and you can link it to that specific category to direct your audience or your customers there. If we take a look at some of the top websites such as Gymshark.com, you'll see that they will have a section that is quite similar to what we're going to be building. So it's important to know how to actually achieve a similar result. So for example, here they link to the women category and also the men category, also the accessories. So with 3 images and a text link like that. If you look at Nike, also very, very similar. You have a picture and a button that links to that specific category. So essentially what we're going to do is create something very similar so that you guys can create the same when you need to. Let's go back over here, turn on the builder. So depending on how many categories you want for that row, in this case, we're just creating 2 rows. So what we're going to do is we're going to hover over here, the row, and we can hover over the sort of like a gear settings icon, and we can select 2 columns. If you want to have 3 columns, for example, 3 categories displaying with 3 images and 3 buttons, you can select that as well. But for now, I'm just going to select 2. So what we can do is we can drag in an image. So let's go ahead and drag in an image. Let's look for the image module. Just drop it below. Then we can go to upload files, select files. So depending on what you want to put as your category, then we can set it in. So I'm just going to select this one here. I'm also going to upload the other one as well. So what I have done here, I've actually cropped the image to the exact same size. So 1280 by 720. So both of these are the same size. Insert file. And then we have an image there. So I'm going to just duplicate that as well. Move that one there. Click on edit. Delete this image. And then upload, select the new one that we want. Just like that. So you can also adjust it to 3 rows as well if you want to. Just like that. Okay, then you can link to 3 different categories. So let's just delete that one. Let's adjust it back to 2. And then next, what we can do is we can add a little heading on the top. So here we can do, let's try new collections like that. And then here I'm going to set it to heading 3. I'm going to click on styling, font, and I'm going to move it to the right hand side like that. So what I'm going to do is I want to balance these 2 images, basically align them together, both downwards. So here on the row, hover over here on the settings gear icon again, and here we can align it to the top, the middle, or the bottom. So I'm going to align it to the bottom, just like that. And then it's going to look like that. All right, so it's going to be all aligned. The next thing that we can do is we can go ahead and click on done. Then we want to add a button. So add a button. Then I'm going to add a little bit of spacing to that button, 24 pixels or 25. And then here we're going to select edits, and you can select the color of the button. Here we could do shop t-shirts like that, and then we can link to that specific page or that category. So let's just leave it as empty for now. Okay, so I'm gonna go click into that, and let's just paste it in as just that for now. Okay, and then I'm gonna duplicate the button. Let's move it there, just like that. So you got 2 of them. I'm gonna move that to the middle. So font, align to the middle. Same thing here. Align this one to the middle. This one, I'm going to change the text. You can also change the text by sort of clicking into there. You can't really do it now, but let's just do shop accessories. Like that. And I think that's looking quite okay. So for the button, I'm going to change it also to the rounded style because I'm going to keep everything consistent. You don't want this one to be rounded and then this one randomly to be square. So let's just change that to the circle one. Edit, button appearance, circle, like that. Once that is done, we are going to also add some padding on the top. So let's just add some space. I'm just going to do maybe 100 pixels on the top, and maybe I'm going to do 100 on the bottom to give it just some breathing room. And what we can actually do is we can click on the preview to see how that looks on the preview mode. Then we can also click on the zoom to zoom out a little bit so we can see the website in a bird's eye view. So as you can see, there's probably a little bit too much spacing there. We can adjust that. So let's just go ahead and deselect the preview mode again. Let's just zoom back in. And as you can see here, we have a little bit of like a separator here. So we can add that in. Let's go here and go to styling. Here I'm going to set in a frame. And we can set in a frame like that. So it's going to be a rounded frame. So right now we don't really have a specific color that we have set in. So I might just do maybe just like a dark gray color. Let's just do 888 like that. And also I want to do on the bottom, let's say the bottom left. No, actually, let's go bottom. Change that one. And then for the left-hand side, I'm going to select none. I want something to be like that. I want it to be like that. And also, we can adjust the color to be the same. I think that is not too bad. Let's see. Adjust the color. 888. We're going to click here, adjust the size for the heading 3 here. I think it's a little bit too small. So for the heading 3, we want to click on styling, general, heading, heading 3, and here we can change the font size. 36. Let's just do 24. No, not 24, maybe 32. I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, but then I may need to adjust this one here as well, the heading 2. So heading 2, and I'm going to change this one to 36. I think that's a little bit better. Let's just go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Okay, so that's how I would create this section here. So if you want to do something like Nike where the text is inside the image, then you'd have to do it a different way. So how we would achieve that result is by, instead of using an image, you want to upload the image as a column background, right? So just a quick example. Let's go here. Let's select 2 rows again. Let's go ahead and select those images, styling. Okay, column background, I'm going to set it to be the same image. So for example, this one, like that, and set it to full cover. Then what we want to do is we want to add a little bit of padding, okay, to that one. So we're going to unlink that. And for the top, let's do 100. Bottom, let's do 100. Probably not enough. So I'm going to expand it to 150. 150. So set that to 150 padding on the top as well as the bottom. Then we can add in the button. So let's just duplicate this button, move it in here, and then let's just remove that padding. Then we could do it like that, right? So as you can see, the button is inside the image. Now that's set right into the middle. If you do want it to have it on like the bottom left-hand side, then you would have to adjust the padding. So you would do, maybe let's do bottom 50 padding, and then the top, adjust that to 250. Then it's going to be like that, right? Then you could basically do the same for this row here, or this column here, and then you'll have an image with the button inside there, right? Just pretty much the same as the one that you see on Nike, and the same that you see here as well in this different row. So it's fairly simple to actually achieve that result, but I'm just going to keep the same one that we have up here, and I'm going to actually just remove this one. Let's say, for example, you are not sure, maybe you want to use that one, then you can actually save it as the layout. So this one, it could be category, and then this one could be button inside picture. Like that, okay? Save it as a row, and then later on, you can just go to the saved and select row, and then use this template that you've built and drag it in here, right? Let's click on save first. Sorry, actually, let's just delete this first, and then click on save. And the thing that we want to do is we want to link it to the categories, right? So to get the category link, then we could go and close this first. Let's say, for example, we go to the shop page. Let's click on this image here, and this one is set the category to women, so it's going to display over here. It also displays in the breadcrumbs on the top. You can click on that, okay, and then you've got the product category link on top here. So you can copy that to your clipboard and we can link that. Go back to your homepage, turn on your builder, go back here, and let's just say, for example, we are linking that to the t-shirt page, just for example. Same thing here. You can also link it to a specific product page or whichever URL that you want as well. So once you're done, save it and then close it. What I want to show you how to create now is just a very simple about section here with a parallax scrolling effect. Let's turn on the builder again, then scroll down. Here we're going to create a new row. So again, we're going to create a 2 columns row like that, and each side we're going to have text. So we can just create something very simple. We can drag in text here. We can do our story, and let's just set this to heading 3 as well. Maybe we can bold it, and then what we can do is we can add in some text below that. So I'm going to grab some lorem ipsum. So I'm just going to grab this text over here, copy that, and I'm going to paste it below, just like that. I'm going to also duplicate it and move this across. Click on edits, and I'm going to delete. Oops. Let's just delete that title there. Copy that. Change it to paragraph. And I'm also going to go over here, the options, and align to the bottom. Then we're going to add a little bit of padding on top as well as on the bottom. So I might just do 50 and see how that goes. So set that in as 50 pixels on the top, and then again 50 on the bottom. Make sure that is even. Then we can zoom out and have a look. So you can either keep it very, very simple like that, or you can go ahead and add a background image as well. So let's click back to 100%. Then we could go here, styling. So because this is talking about a little bit of how you began your e-commerce journey, and here we can just click on the background. We want to find an image which relates to the text that we have here. Let's click on background image, upload files, select files, and a lot of your website is actually pretty much all about the images and your sort of like the content. The better the images, the better your website is going to look automatically. If your images are bad, then your website is going to look really bad. So you want to make sure that you can get your own sort of images, perhaps of you working on the products or something like that. Okay, so as so here, we can click on insert file, and then we can have that image there. What we can do is we can play around with it. We can go full cover, we can go fixed. That's going to be like a parallax style image, which I think is kind of nice as well. So let's just expand it to maybe 100 pixels in the space. And what we need to do is we need to add an overlay. Let's set that to be black, and then drag the opacity down to maybe 0.02 maybe. Okay, and then what we can do is we can also go to the styling here, and instead of editing each of these text modules, we can go to font and we can adjust the color for everything inside there to maybe white. Okay, so if you can't see that text, then you can boost up the opacity just a little bit more. Okay, and that can help with the visibility. So again, we can zoom out and see if that looks okay. Okay, so let's just say, for example, that looks okay. Then that's a very, very simple layout for your about section. So here we can also go and save this layout, about section. And whenever you need this section, you can add it. So for example, if you have it on your about page, then you can use that same layout and basically just drag it in from the saved rows. So another very important thing that we need to do is ensuring our website is completely mobile responsive so that it fits perfectly on all mobile devices, and you want your content to show where you actually want it to show. So let's right click the website and we can click on inspect, and then here we can click on the left here. Okay, so on the left top you'll see a little icon, and here we can actually see what it looks like on mobile. So as you can see, there are some things that we need to fix. For example, the heading is probably a little bit too small here compared to the subheading. So this, either the subheading needs to be a little bit smaller or this needs to be a little bit bigger. So we need to adjust that. And another thing that we need to adjust is, as you can see, the content over here, the new collections title is in between these two category images. So ideally we do want the new collections to show on the top here, as it just makes more sense. So what we need to do is we need to actually edit those things. So here we can close it, and let's come back to our website. Let's turn on the builder. So on the top left hand side here, we can set in the mobile display. So let's click on the mobile display, and here what we can do is we can actually edit the specific sizing for that specific device. So for example, let's edit the text here. And then for the font size, instead of 32, I might change it to maybe 24. It still might be a little bit big, so let's just do 20. So I think that is going to be a little bit better and a little bit more proportional to the heading on top. Let's click on the heading too, and let's click over here. Let's click on the heading 1. Okay, let's make sure that we change that size. So let's just do perhaps 36 pixels, like that, for mobile devices. Okay, so if we change that back to the heading 1 for the desktop, it's going to remove that size. So it doesn't have the size, it's basically just the default. If we change it back to the mobile devices, then it's going to take the size that you put in here specifically. Okay, so I think that is looking pretty nice. Now the other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that this text is above, right? So maybe we can click it and we can move it up like that. And another thing that we can do is we can add a little bit of padding as well. So maybe let's just do 50 pixels in padding, like that. Let's change it back to the desktop version. So I think that is looking okay. And then if we change it back to the mobile version here, it's going to take the changes that we made for mobile devices only. So I think that is looking pretty decent. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to check your own layout and edit everything as well. Another really important thing that you can do is you can set the visibility settings. So for example, if on mobile you don't want to display this part of the content, then you can actually hide it. So to hide it, let's say for example you want to hide the entire row, then we can hover over here, and on the 3 dots here we can scroll down and click on visibility. So for the row options, we can hide it for mobile only, as well as maybe the tablet portrait, as well as the tablet landscape, and therefore this is only going to display on desktop. So if we actually click on preview, then it should actually hide, but I'm not sure why it's not hiding right now. But we can, let's click on the save here, then let's click on the preview again. Okay, then let's just close it. So now I'm going to right click, inspect, and then if we see on mobile devices, then that entire row or section is gone. So sometimes you may want to hide certain content because on mobile, you don't want to show too much content. It's just a little bit too complicated. You may want to hide it. You can also do something where you can duplicate it. So for example, we can duplicate these two sections, right? And let's just say, for example, you want to change the content specifically, you want to shorten it, or perhaps if we want to, let's say, change the background image, so styling, background, let's just change the background image. So for example, upload files, select files, and we are going to update that. So about, let's update it to this one. Let's insert that. Okay, so now we have this one. So here I want to set the visibility and I want to hide it for desktop. I want to show it for the rest. So let's click on done. Let's click on save and let's close. Then if we inspect it on mobile, then it's going to show this one. The other one is hidden. So if we change it back to the desktop, so just close it, then it's going to show this version. So that's a very useful feature. So you want to make sure that you check all of the mobile responsive settings for the mobile as well as your tablet on your specific layout. Next, what we'll need to do is we'll need to set up our payment so you can accept credit card on your website. So you want to navigate to your dashboard section, and then you want to ensure that you have WooCommerce, the plugin installed. Then you can click into that. So from here, we can actually click on the settings tab. And then here on the top, we can click on the payments tab. So here you should have WooPayments, which we will need to actually install. So this is going to allow your website to accept credit cards. So it's going to create the accounts directly on your WooCommerce website. So they've actually partnered up with Stripe, which is like a payment gateway, and you can basically control everything and your deposits to your bank account in your WooCommerce account. So we're going to go ahead and install that. So while that is installing, you can also enable other methods such as direct bank transfer, check payments, as well as cash on delivery. Here, it's going to basically ask you to connect your store. What we're going to do is click on connect your store. So if you don't have a WordPress.com account yet, then you will need to actually create one. But I actually do have one already. So I'm going to continue with Google. And I'm going to select the email that I have an account with already. So right now that's connecting our account. So here we just need to put in some basic details about your business. So we're going to select where the business is located, the type of legal entity, and then we're going to set in what we're going to sell. Clothing, estimated revenue. I'm just going to do that, and I'm also going to do within 1 month. Click on continue. So with WooCommerce, it partners with Stripe to basically allow you to receive payments. So what we need to do is we need to add some information. And I'm also going to enter in my Stripe email. So what you probably want to do is you probably want to create a new business. I'm going to select my existing one. Then what you'll need to do is to add in your bank details to basically receive the payouts after a customer pays you. So I'm going to enter in those details. So what you want to do is just review that information and then click on agree and submit. So basically that's all you need to do. So sometimes they may ask for more information to verify your account and things of that nature. So you can just follow the prompts to actually do that. So obviously over here, you can see that we have to confirm our email address. So I'm going to go ahead and do that myself. Basically what's going to happen is that since we've actually connected with the WooPayments, once a customer actually pays you, it's basically going to pay out to your bank account. I think you can set a setting where you can send it daily, or you can send it every week, or you can actually set it up so that it actually sends you the money after you reach a specific balance or threshold to your bank account. So the other thing that you can do with the payments is that is basically with the credit cards. So if you actually go and navigate to the settings, you can actually add in other payment gateways with other plugins. So for example, we can add in PayPal. If you're based in India, I think Razorpay is a very popular payment method, then we can use that as well. So to add in that, we can go to plugins. And let's say, for example, you want to add in PayPal, then we can add new plugin. On the right hand side, we can search for PayPal and click on enter. Then from here, you can download and basically install and activate this plugin over here. So you just basically follow the prompts to create an account and then just connect it. So if you want to add other payment gateways, for example, something that's popular in your country, for example, Razorpay, then we can type that in here as well in the plugin section. For example, this one over here. So there are also some other ones which are made by different developers as well, which you can check out. And basically you'll just need to create an account and just connect it. And that payment gateway will then be enabled on your WordPress and WooCommerce website. So once you've set up your payment gateways on your website to receive payment, the next step is to set up your shipping zones so that you're able to set in different shipping prices for different zones. So again, go to your dashboard, hover over WooCommerce and click on settings. So the first thing that you probably want to do is you want to click on the general tab, make sure you've set in your store address. So this is important. And once you've added that in, then you can also edit the general options. Generally, I just keep it as default here. For the taxes, I'm also going to enable tax rate and calculations. So I'll show you guys how to set the automated taxes in a few minutes, but you can enable this right now. So just enable that. And once you're happy with that, we can scroll down and click on just save changes. Then the next step is we can click on the shipping tab. So what we want to do is we want to set in a few zones. So for example, I'm going to add zone. The first zone I'm going to do is domestic. So just for your sort of local customers. And here we can set in the zones. So over here, I'm going to set in domestic for Australia. So I'm going to click on that drop down and I'm just going to select Australia as well as the states over here. So once you're happy with that, we can click over here and then we can click on add shipping method. So we're going to set in a few different methods. So the first one might be free shipping. So we're going to click on continue. So with free shipping, most e-commerce companies will actually set a minimum order amount. So let's just say, for example, $100. Then we can create and save. So basically, your customers will get free shipping if they spend over 100. Then we're going to add in just two more. So flat rate, continue. So this one can be standard. And I generally like to put in the estimated time. So 2 to 6 business days in here. And then we're going to do the cost. So maybe $10, create and save. And then we can add in another method, flat rate, continue. So you can add a few different methods. So we're going to do express shipping, and then we can do 1 to 4 business days like that, and set in the cost there, create and save. So once you're happy with that, then we can click back to the shipping zones. So as you can see, that has been saved. Then we can add in another zone. So generally you do want to set in the zones that your shipping company has given you. For example, I'm going to do US and CA for Canada, and then just do those specific countries. So United States, I'm going to select that. And then also Canada, because these ones are sort of very, very similar in terms of the rates. So we're going to set that in, and same thing, we can do free shipping, continue. So we could do a minimum order amount, so maybe a little bit more, 150 for the international. Add another shipping method, so flat rate, continue. And this one can be called standard international. And then you can put in the estimated time as well. And then set in the amount. So let's say $15, create and save. And we can add in another one. So this one, for example, is express shipping. So let's just do $25 here. And then we can do the time. So let's do 4 to 6 business days and create and save. So then once that is done, then we can head back to the shipping zones. So you can add in a few more zones, but I'm just going to stop it there. It should be pretty straightforward. So for the rest of the world, you can actually set it in as well. So for all the zones that you haven't created, then you can create a blanket one. Okay, you can edit it here. Once you have set that up, then basically your customers will be able to select the shipping location. Okay, for those of you who haven't set in those other countries, then they won't be able to select those countries as a shipping option. So they won't be able to purchase essentially. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to set up the taxes. So this is especially important if you're based in the United States because it can get quite complicated. So I like to recommend to use the actual automated taxes. So we can go to plugins, and here we can add new. So we're going to search for taxes and then hit on enter. And we're going to install and activate the WooCommerce shipping and tax, again by WooCommerce. So just install that and then activate it. So we're going to click on connect. Okay, so we have connected and we've basically have been logged in already. So it's just been a quick process to connect it. But if you haven't, then you'll need to basically sign up or just log in again. Once that is done, then we need to go over here to the WooCommerce settings again and click on taxes. And then here we can enable the automated taxes and then save it. So let's say, for example, let's visit store and we can add a product in here. So then we can click on checkout. And as you can see, we have the delivery there. If we actually put in the suburb, so let's just do Melbourne, postcode is maybe 3000. The taxes will be added, okay, based on the shipping address. So there is something that we do need to fix here. As you can see, the layout doesn't look very good because it goes from left to right. It doesn't have any sort of space in between. So we need to go to edit page. And then here we can scroll down. So this is because previously we've actually set the default page layout to the full width one. For these checkout pages, we do want it to have just no sidebar. So click on save. Let's click on view page. All right, so I think that is a lot better. So the other thing that we want to do is we want to go to the cart page, so the view cart page, and we also want to edit the layout here too. So let's click on edit page, scroll down, and we want to change the page layout in the page options to be just no sidebar and save. View page. Okay, so I think that is looking pretty much good to go. So we've basically set up the payment, the shipping, as well as set up the automated taxes, and we've fixed the layouts for the cart page as well as your checkout page. So now what I want to show you guys is how to create your shippings and returns page. So this is probably going to be one of the most frequently viewed pages on your e-commerce website. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. Earlier in the tutorial, I've actually showed you guys how to add in the footer menu. So if you haven't actually added that in, then you may not see your shipping page. So then we can go to our dashboard. So you can navigate to your pages. And if you haven't created the pages yet, then you can create your shipping page by clicking on add new page and then setting it to be shipping and then publishing that. So as you can see, I've already added the page. So I'm just going to click on view. So from here, we can click on turn on builder. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a hero image. So one hero image with a text in the middle. To do that, we can hover over the row and then click on the styling tab. Click on background. For the background type, we're going to select image. So it's already pre-selected. For the background image, we're going to just upload an image from my computer. So what I do recommend is taking your own images, perhaps of you actually shipping the package. So I'm going to select this one over here and click on open and then insert file URL. For the background mode, we want to set it to full cover. And then we can add a little bit of spacing or padding to that image. So hover over it And as you can see, it's a purple highlight. We can click it and just drag it down to maybe 200 pixels in padding or spacing. Same thing with the bottom, maybe 200 as well. Okay, 199, I think that's okay. All right, so what we can do is we can use this to sort of rearrange where the focus is. Let's just stick with that and let's click on done. So the next thing we can do is we can add text. So drop in a text module. Here we're going to do shipping and returns, or it could just be the shipping FAQ. Here we're going to change it to heading 1. Then we can go to styling, font, move it to the middle, and also change the font color to white. If you want to boost the visibility, then we can go to the styling again, row overlay. Let's set in a black overlay, and let's drop it down to maybe 0.3 or maybe 0.25. Okay, I think that's looking okay, and we can save that. So the next section, we can click on the plus, and you can actually create this section yourself as well. For example, here, and then you have a new row. To add in an FAQ, which looks something like this, this is actually the accordion module. So we can look for the accordion, and you can drop that in, and that's going to give you the FAQ type of effect where people can click on it, and then it loads with the answer. You can do that manually if you want to. For example, this is the accordion title, and then here we can click on add new, and here we can click on open, okay, and then you can edit the content inside. So what I'm going to do is actually delete the entire section. So let's close that, and then we can go to blocks. Okay, so the blocks are some of the pre-created sections that you can actually use. I'm going to type in FAQ, and you can use different blocks which have been pre-created. This one over here, I'm going to drop that in just like that, and then we can just use that as a base. So then we can click into that, and then we can edit the accordion title. So for example, when will my order arrive? And then if you want to edit what's inside, just click into that, edit the text. So then here you can do perhaps the different places that you ship to, and then with the shipping times. So you can do that for each of these ones. So to edit the colors of the accordion module, you can click into it again, and then over here on the styling tab on the top, we can click it, and then here you can edit the color. For example, you can edit the color of the icon. So for example, this icon over here, we can change the background color to, let's say, like a pink color, and the closed background color, we can change it to maybe a pink color, but maybe just a darker pink color. Okay, just like that, and click on done. So I'm just going to delete this other row because there's nothing in there, and I think that is pretty much good to go. So let's just save it and close. Next, I want to show you guys how to create a simple contact page with a contact form. So this is important for your customers to get in touch with you if they have any questions or any issues with their orders. So let's head back to our website. Let's click on the contact page. Click on turn on builder. So here we're going to just use a block which has been pre-created. So on the top left, click on blocks, and I'm going to type in contact. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this one here. It's just a very, very simple one. You can also use the one with the map as well, but we don't really have a physical location. So let's just select this one here. Let's click on it, and we can drag it and just drop it in there. So the first thing we can change is going to be the background. Click on styling, background image. We can delete the original one. Click on plus, upload files, select files. And we're going to upload a image for our contact page. Insert file URL. So the other thing that we have to do is going to be this contact form. So as you can see, it stands out a bit too much. So we can actually make it blend in a little bit better. We can click into that contact form, So you do need to make sure that you have installed the contact form plugin. So this plugin is actually going to be for download for free below this YouTube video in the YouTube description. So you can download it and then you can go to plugins as well as installing and activate it. Only once you've done that, then you'll be able to see this. Okay, so this contact form is actually going to be in your modules section. So if you click on modules, scroll down a little bit, it's going to be this contact form module. So we're going to click into that and we're going to edit it. So here we can change the layout. You can also change the send to email. So when your customers submit a form, then it's going to be sent to the email that you set in here. So in this case, we've set it to the admin email. So for example, your login email, you can also set it to a specific one. So from here, we can also edit basically what is in there. So for example, the form fields. So generally, I think that's okay for now. But if you don't like it, then you can change it. So for example, if you don't want to display your name on top here, we can actually just copy it and put it into the placeholder. So it just makes it kind of a little bit more simpler. Okay, so it doesn't take up that much space. So we can just take that one, copy that and place it in here, delete that, copy that, put it into the placeholder section like that. Okay, so if you do want to add another field, we can click on plus and you can add another one as well, right? So for example, if you want them to submit more information, then you can do that. So we're going to click on delete. The other thing that we can do is we can change the background color. So we're going to click on styling. And for the background color, we're going to click on the tab over here. So basically for the input fields, we can change it. So click on that. For the background, we're going to change it to, let's just go back to general, go to the background, and then we're going to delete that. Okay, so that makes it a transparent type of background. And we can do the same for the fields. So click on the input fields. Here, we're going to make the opacity, we're going to bring it down to maybe 0.5, something like that. And also we can change the font color to white to just make sure that it is, or it's visible. Okay, something like that. And then what we could do is we can also change the button color. So click on the tab on the top, send button, background color. Okay, let's just say, for example, we set it to this one. And I think that is looking not too bad. Save it and close. So let's just type in, okay, so I think that is okay. When will our order arrive? So then now you have a very simple contact page with your information. So you can turn on the builder and edit your information. For example, clicking into that, and then you can edit your phone number. You can also edit your email, and you can also put in an address. If you do have a physical address, you can click into here and change the message as well. And here with the contact form, it's just a very, very simple one. And once you're ready, then we can just click on save and close. So what I want to show you guys right now is basically how to set up a free professional email in Hostinger, as well as set up a SMTP. Basically, that just means that your emails to your customers, for example, the order confirmations, as well as the contact form messages, will actually arrive in the inbox rather than in the spam folder. So this is actually very, very important. Otherwise, sometimes your customer may not receive any notifications. The first thing that you'll need to do is to log into Hostinger. From here, we can click on emails. And if you have a hosting plan, you should be able to set up a free email. So we're going to click on start free, and then we're going to click on confirm. So we just clicked on that again. So here we're going to enter in an email. So for example, hello@hoganstutorial.com. So this one can be like sales, info, hello, help, support, yourdomain.com. And then all you need to do is to set in a password. Once you're ready, click on create. So where we're going to use the email account, we're going to click on browser. So here we're going to click on webmail. So what you can actually do is you can bookmark this page and then you can log in here to your inbox. So for example, we put in our password that we set in before and then click on login. And this is going to take us to our email that we just created. So this is the professional email and you can add this email on your website for your customers to contact you. You can also connect it with Gmail. So basically it forwards into your Gmail inbox, basically allowing you to receive as well as send emails directly from your Gmail. So I will have a link to that specific tutorial in the description below, so you can actually follow that video. But other than that, then we can go back over here. We can go and click on complete. So next is actually setting up the SMTP, which stands for the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It basically just verifies your domain so that, emails as well as the transactional emails and contact form emails are all sent to the inbox. So this is very important. So we can hover over here and then click on connect apps and devices. So here we have our information, the outgoing server SMTP information. So navigate back to your website and go to plugins. We're going to click on add new plugin. And then here we're going to search for easy SMTP and then click on enter. We're going to scroll down a little bit and we're going to be using this one over here. We're going to click on install now and then click on activate. We're going to click on get started. Scroll down and select other SMTP. Click on save and continue. So here we're going to enter the SMTP host. And this is going to be the information that we have over here. So this is the host name. So we're going to copy this information to our clipboard, come back over here, paste it in. For the encryption, we're going to select SSL and the SMTP port is going to be 465 and keep that enabled. For the SMTP username, this is going to be your email address. So we're going to put that in as hello@hoganstutorial.com. And then the password, so the password that you actually set in for your email inbox before. So we're going to enter that in here. And then here we're going to do a from name. So this could be your brand name. And you can also set it to be force from that specific name as well. So basically all emails from your domain is going to show this in the name section. So we're going to select that. And for the from email, I'm going to just copy this email here and paste this in here as well. Okay. And then click on save and continue. So we're going to scroll down and then click on save and continue. Let's click on skip this step and skip this step. So now it's basically just running some tests. Okay. Congratulations. We have basically set it all up and click on finish setup. So let's go back to our site and let's try the contact form again. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So this one, let's just do Alan. Email, let's do alan123@gmail.com. Subject, when will order arrive? Hey guys, just wondering when my order will arrive. And then click on send. So that message has been sent, for example, by your customer. And if we navigate back to our website over here, we click on inbox. And as you can see, we have that contact form message sent to our inbox. So before setting up the SMTP, it was actually sent to our spam folder. So sometimes you may actually miss it, as well as later on when you actually do a test order. For example, the order confirmations, those ones will need to be sent to the inbox. So it's very important to actually set it up properly. So as you can see over here, if we go back to our inbox, this is the automatic email test. And as you can see, that is all working. So that is pretty good. And we can move on to the next step. So next I want to show you guys how to edit your logo as well as your favicon, which is the little icon on your tabs, as well as editing your footer section. So for example, removing this, as well as adding your social media links in the footer section. So first things first, we can go to Customize. Let's click on the Themify options. And here on the basic option tab, we can click on Site Logo and Tagline. Click on Site Logo, and here we can change the site title. So for example, we can edit that, and that's going to basically change, as you can see. So let's say, for example, you do have a logo. We can click that, and we can upload the logo. Upload files, select files, and we're going to upload the logo that I pre-created. So I'm going to upload this one over here. Click on Open, and then Insert Image. And here we have our logo. So what I'm going to do is actually resize it, so it's too big right now. And I want to edit the height of the logo only, so I might just do 32. Okay, so as you can see, that isn't very balanced. The padding there is not very good. So what we can actually do to edit that padding there is going to the site logo margin, deselecting apply to all, and for the top margin, let's try 5 pixels. Maybe that's not enough, maybe let's do 10. And then for the margin bottom, let's do 10 as well. Okay, still not enough, let's just try maybe 16. And for the margin bottom, 16 as well. So I think that is looking pretty good. Okay, and then we can click on Publish. You can also scroll down to the footer. So here you can actually edit the footer as well. So for the footer logo, we can change it. So let's just change it to the same one perhaps. Just like that. And then also editing the size. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. Then we can click on Publish. Let's click on Close. And what I want to do now is actually editing the favicon. So let's go to our dashboard. And from here, we can go to the Themify shop, Themify settings. And in the General tab, we can click on Favicon, Upload. And we can upload the favicon. So with the favicon, the size that I've actually set is 5112 by 5112 pixels. And then click on Save. So from here, we can visit the site. So as you guys can see, that's been added. So the next thing, we're going to remove this down here. Let's navigate to our dashboard, Themify settings. And then this is actually very simple. So we can go to the theme settings, scroll down a little bit to the footer text. So that is going to be the footer text too. All we need to do is just hide it and save. As you can see, that is gone. To add in your social media links, it's also very easy. Let's go to the dashboard again. Let's go over here, Themify settings. Over here, we can go to social links. So what we'll need to do is to basically just paste in your URLs. So your social profile URL in here. So let's just say twitter.com. So I think it's actually been renamed as X, but let's just put that there. Facebook.com. So you can just paste in your profile URLs directly in here. YouTube.com. And let's say, for example, you don't have a Pinterest account, you can delete it. And you can also add a link. So for example, if you want to display your Instagram profile, then we can just put that in there. For the icon, click on Insert Icon. I'm going to click on Font Awesome. And click on Brand. And then let's look for I for Instagram. Scroll down a little bit. So this one here. And here we can also edit the color of the icon and the background, but I'm just going to leave it as is and click on Save. So before we actually can display it, we actually need to go to Appearance and Widgets. So let's scroll down a little bit to Appearance, click on Widgets. And let's say, for example, we want to display it on the footer section. We need to click on the Below Footer Logo widget, click on plus. And then here we can type in Themify Social and select Themify Social Links. So from here, we can select Open Link in a new tab. So generally you do want to select this because you want people to stay on your website and to purchase from your website. You don't want them to, click off your website. So you do want your social media links to open in another tab. Select that, and I think that's good to go. Update. Let's navigate back to our website, and we can scroll down, and then that should be showing on the bottom section on your footer. So you can actually add the social media links anywhere on your website. So for example, if we turn on the builder, all we need is to use the widgets. So let's look for widget, this one over here, and we can drag it and drop it there. Okay, so again, we can search for the widget. So Themify social. Okay, so it's not showing up there for some reason. Okay, so we just, over here, select that, open link in a new tab, and then we have our social links. To control the links colors, we can go to styling, and then here we can select the link color. Let's just move it to maybe white. Okay, for example, and you can also change the hover link color as well, but let's just leave it as that, save it, and close. So what I want to show you guys right now is how to set up email marketing for your e-commerce website. So for example, I'll show you guys how to create an opt-in form, how to create a pop-up form. I'll also show you guys how you can set up an email campaign as well as automated campaigns. So I think this is really, really important, but not many tutorials actually cover it. So when I first started with email marketing, I actually didn't start until like 6 months later. I started my e-commerce store. I left it for a long time because I had a bad experience with it and it was like hard to set up. It was also expensive, but I came across Omnisend and I set it up. It was super easy. And right now with Omnisend, it currently drives around 30% of our revenue, a lot of it coming from the automated email campaigns. So I think this is really important because you want to make sure that all the traffic that comes to your website, you capture that traffic. Otherwise, it's sort of like you're leaving money on the table. So I'm going to show you guys exactly step by step on how to actually get started. It's really easy and it's also really profitable. So we're going to be using Omnisend to set up our email marketing. For example, the email opt-ins as well as the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout automated flows. So this is a service that I've actually been using, but we recently partnered up with Omnisend so that you guys can get a discount as well if you do decide to sign up. So for example, if you use Hogan 30, you're going to get 30% off for the first 3 months. So if you don't sign up, you can actually get started for free. So I'll show you guys how to get started for free, and you can collect up to 250 contacts. So you can fully try out the service and as well as send up to 500 emails per month before you do need to upgrade to the paid plans. So you can navigate to Omnisend by going to hoganchua.com/Omnisend, and that's going to take you over here. So to get started, we can click on Start Now, or you can click on Start Free. Over here, you can sign up with Google, or you can sign up with your email address. So I'm just going to put in our email that we actually created earlier. So hello@hoganstutorial.com, set in a password, click on e-commerce, and I'm going to select and agree to that. Then click on sign up and just complete the registration. So you need to go to your email address as well as verifying your email. So here we'll need to enter in our details. So I'm going to put in my details, store name, Hogan's store website. So we're going to grab the URL here, copy, paste it in there, and choose the platform. So in this case, we're building a WooCommerce website. So we're going to select that, and which email marketing software. We are not using any at the moment. Click on none. And here we can put in our business address. I'm just going to put in a dummy address for now, but you can put in a PO box, I believe. So set in the country, continue to Omnisend. So once you're done, we'll just need to connect Omnisend to WooCommerce. So we can click on connect to WooCommerce, and what we'll need to do is we'll need to download the Omnisend plugin in your WordPress dashboard here. So navigate back to your WordPress dashboard and go to plugins, and then here we can click on add new plugin, and we're going to search for the Omnisend one. So just put that in and then click on enter. So we're going to be installing this one over here, Email Marketing for WooCommerce by Omnisend, install, and then activate. So on the top over here on plugins, you should see a notice to connect your store with Omnisend. So what we're going to do is click on connect your store. And then since we already created an account, then we can just connect your account. So here it's asking us to approve. Over here, it's basically pulled in our website's logo as well as the colors that we've used on our website. So it's just pulled all those colors in. So then when you're creating your email campaigns, it's also going to use those colors. You can edit the colors here. For the fonts, I might change it to Montserrat. So I like this font here, Montserrat. So we're going to change them both. And you can also add in your social media links. So therefore you don't have to add it again later on. Here we're going to click on Save Brand Assets. So you can always edit those brand assets later on as well. So here it's asking us to pick a Omnisend plan. Right now we're just going to stay on the free plan, but you can view the plans and features if you want to. Let's just click on close. So basically we've completed 2 steps. We have created an account as well as connected Omnisend with our WordPress website. This here is going to be your dashboard area. If we navigate to the campaigns tab, this is basically where you can set up new email campaigns. So for example, if you have a new product launching, then you can create a new email campaign and send it to your audience. The automation is going to be, for example, the abandoned cart as well as the abandoned checkout workflows. The forms is basically where you can create your sign-up forms as well as your embed forms that you can add onto your website to collect emails. Audience is essentially your contact list. Reports is where you can view the performance of your campaigns as well as how much money you are making from your email campaigns. So let's head back to our dashboard area. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to launch a sign-up form, because before we can actually do anything, we do need some emails. So we're going to click on Launch Sign-up Form. So the easiest form here to create is the email opt-in form. So a very popular way to gather emails is to offer 10% off for your first order. So here we can click into it. It's basically very, very similar to the builder that we have on our website. So on the left-hand side, you have all the different modules that you can drag and drop in. You can add different columns, for example, 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, or even 4 columns. And here, if you want to edit the text, you can click inside here. And if you want to change the color, then we can highlight it. And then on the right-hand side, we can edit the text color like that. So for example, if you want to change the text, we can just change it like that. New releases, and I'm going to edit and change the text just to the dark gray color. Same thing here with our fields. This is going to be in the field settings. So this, we're going to scroll down and we're going to change the color. So the text color, the placeholder color, the label color, as well as the border color. Okay, so here we can change the button color as well, but I'm just going to leave it as this one right now. So as you can see on the title here, it shows email and SMS branded multi-step welcome discount. So this is actually going to step number 2. So step number 1 is collecting their emails. If people have submitted their email, then it's actually going to direct them to step number 2, which is going to collect their phone number. So if you don't want to collect people's phone numbers, then what you can do is you can click on the 3 dots here and you can delete that step. But if you do want to collect phone numbers as well and send out SMS campaigns, then you can do so. Here we can click on the success. So this is going to be the success message. So you can update that, as well as if people have subscribed already, this you can change the message here, as well as adding additional options here. So we're going to leave it as default for now. So this is just a very, very simple form to collect people's emails. So once you're done, you can save and close. Okay, so once you've actually saved and closed, you can navigate to forms and you can see the form here. So the form is actually still in draft mode. Before you actually activate it, you'll have to make sure you enable it. So once you actually enable it, then this form is going to be active on your website. So we're going to stay on the free plan and continue. So let's navigate back to our website here and let's click on visit site. So let's just pretend to scroll around. Okay, so as you can see, it already popped up straight away. If you do need to edit it, for example, you can head back over here and click on forms. So when we were browsing our website, I think it popped up just a little bit too quick. So we can edit that. So over here on the right hand side, we can schedule it if you have a specific date where you want it to show. For example, if you are launching a specific product, then you can schedule a date, or if it's a specific date. And then for the display over here, you can also set in different rules. So for example, you may want them to browse your page for a certain amount of time. So you don't want it to pop up too quickly. So maybe 45 seconds. So you can also set up the page visits. So I might do at least 2 pages. I think that's good. Let's go and update live form. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to here by clicking on edit. And targeting, we can select targeting. So basically you can target specific visitors as well as target specific pages that people visit. So we're going to leave that just as default. Visibility, you can set in the visibility. For example, if you want it to display on mobile only or desktop only. So perhaps you can create a separate one for mobile devices only and then select it. And then you can create another one which is for desktop only. So I'm just going to keep it as the default one because it's just a very simple one. And you can also set in the frequency. So you don't want it to show too often. I think it's a good idea to give it a little rest. So for at least 1 day. Come back over here, A/B testing. So A/B testing is basically you can create 2 versions of it and you can see which one performs better. So for example, let's say the pop-up shows 100 times, then it's going to show which one most people sign up to. So I'm just going to click on save and close for now. So this is going to allow us to collect emails with a pop-up form. Now I'm going to show you guys how to create a embed form that you can add onto your website, for example, near the footer section of your website. So this is a very common spot where e-commerce websites will actually collect emails as well. So to create an email embed form on your website, it is just a couple of steps. So we can go back over here and we can navigate to forms, then click on create form. So instead of the pop-up, we can select embedded. And with the embedded form, as you can see, there is some transparency there. All we need is just a very simple email capture one. So we can use this template, scroll down and select this one. So you can keep the text here or you can delete the text. So for example, we are keeping the text here. Then all you need to do is we can change the text as well as change the colors. But let's say, for example, we don't want to do that. You can easily do that. We can enable the form first and just copy the code here to our clipboard. Then we can navigate back to our website, turn on the builder. So this is going to work very similarly for other website builders as well. So let's say, for example, we want it to show on the bottom here. Then we can create a new row, styling, background. Here we can set in a color. So for example, a background color, let's just set maybe just a dark gray for now, like this. Then what we need to do is just add a little bit of padding. So just a little bit of space in there. Click on done. Then we need to drop in a HTML shortcode. So this one here. And then we will just paste in the code that we copied before and then click on done. And then we can click on save and close. Scrolling down, then it's going to display down here like this. So obviously we would need to change the color of the text because our background is dark. So we can quickly do that. Just go over here and you can select the text and just change it like this. And you can update it. Then all the updates that you make over here, it's basically going to update on your website as well because it is just showing the code. and you can click on the button. So we can change the button color by clicking on button settings. This one is our primary button. So here we can change the background color to white, and then for the border color, change it to white. The text color, we need to change it to a dark gray. And then we can click back over here. I think everything is good. So we can close and save changes. Then if we navigate over here and refresh the page and scroll down, then it should be updated. So it's that simple to add an embed form. And another really cool thing is you can turn on the builder and you can save this row as a layout. So over here, hover over the row, save it as layout. So this one could be email opt-in, and then click on done. So basically what you can do is on all pages, you can add this layout really easily without redoing this entire section again. So since we have created the forms to collect our visitors' emails, the next thing that we need to do is actually set up a welcome email. So once people submit their email, they'll be sent the welcome email. So for example, with our pop-up, we are offering 10% off for the first order. We actually need to set that up as well. So you can navigate back to your dashboard and you can click on create welcome workflow. So all we need to do basically is just start the workflow. So as your customer subscribes via the form, it's going to wait 1 minute and then it's going to send that email. So we're going to click on start workflow, and then we're just going to select and stay on the free plan and continue. So if we navigate to the automation here, you'll see a welcome workflow. We can click into that and you can edit the messaging here, as well as set in different conditions. As you can see here, the trigger is basically once someone signs up via any sign up form and it is the first subscription, then it's going to wait for 1 minute and then it's going to send this email over here. So as you guys know, we have actually set it up with the messaging that they'll receive 10% off. So we do need to edit that content. So we can click on edit content, and here we can do a coupon code. So what we need to do is hover over quick add, and we're going to add a unique discount, or you can add a static discount. So the unique discount is going to change every time. So basically, if you don't want a coupon website copying your discount code, then you can just use a unique one. So we can drop that in here. Since Omnisend is connected to our website, it's going to automatically generate the discount. So for example, we're offering 10% off for their first order. Then we can just set in the discount value here, 10%. And you can also change the expiry and set everything you need here. So welcome aboard. Then you can change the messaging here. You've received a 10% welcome discount below, something like that. And once you're ready, then click on preview and test, and you can see how that email looks. So if it's okay, you can also do a test email. So you don't want your email to be too big, otherwise it's going to get clipped in Gmail. So for example, they'll have to click on the show more before it shows all the content. So let's close that and click on finish editing, and we're going to click on update. Okay, so that's basically it for the welcome email, and we can also edit it. So welcome 10% off, and click on update. Publish changes. So we're going to let them finish the workflow and publish changes. Okay, so that's all set. The next step is to set up the automation workflows for the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout emails. So essentially what Omnisend will do is if someone adds an item to the cart as well as getting to your checkout and entering their email, but they don't actually check out or they don't complete the purchase, then the emails will actually be sent to their email. So what you can actually do is that you can send emails, for example, enticing them to order. Perhaps you can offer free shipping. Perhaps you can just remind them because sometimes they are too busy and they forget. Or you can also do a 10% discount if they abandon the cart and check out. So with Omnisend, they make it really easy to do that. All you need to do is to launch the workflow, and then all you need to do is to start the workflow. So as you can see here on the diagram, it says the customer abandons a cart. It's going to wait for 1 hour. You can actually edit this time, and then after an hour, this email will be sent. If people don't purchase, then another email will be sent after 11 hours and so on. So we're going to click on Start Workflow and stay on Free Plan, click on Continue. So let's head to the Automation tab. And as you can see, both of these campaigns have been activated already. So let's click into the abandoned cart. And as you guys can see, you can edit the emails over here as well. And you can also edit the timing set here. So perhaps instead of 1 hour, you can adjust it. For example, the trigger filters, we can adjust it to 2 hours. So only after 2 hours, if no one has actually purchased, it'll send this email. Click on Update, and we can go ahead and edit the email by clicking on Edit Content. And if you want, you can also edit this email here, Edit Content, and maybe this is where you can actually offer them a 10% discount or a free shipping offer. And once you're ready, we can just update and publish those changes. We're going to select Let them finish the workflow and publish. So it's going to be very similar for the abandoned checkout. Essentially, it's going to work the same. If they start the checkout, for example, they enter in their email as well as the address, but they don't actually place an order, after 1 hour, they'll be sent this email here, and you can go ahead and edit the timing, edit the content by clicking into the email, and you can also edit the subject line as well. But generally, you can leave these as is and just get it going first and sort of optimize it as you go. So we're going to click on Update and Close. So we're pretty much set up all the automation here. We can navigate back to our dashboard, and the last step is to create an email campaign. So with the email campaign, this is when you are perhaps launching a new product, or perhaps you have some news that you want to share with your visitors and customers. Then you can create a new email campaign. So we can click into that. So create an email. And here we can enter in the subject line. So for example, new product launch. For the sender's name, so you can put your brand name. And the pre-header is going to show the content over here. Get early access. And the campaign name, this is just for your own use. So this could be new product launch 101. And once you're ready, we can click on choose email template. So here we have a bunch of different templates that we can choose and use for inspiration. And you can just go ahead and click on the preview. So for example, if Easter is coming up, you can use this template, choose template, and you can click into it to edit that as well. You can change the image, change the content. And once you're ready, you can click on save and choose recipients. So right now we don't have any email recipients, but if you do, then you can actually select it. You can also choose by segments. So I'm not going to be talking about it in this video, but in an in-depth Omnisend video, we'll go through everything more in depth. So here we can just review the campaign, and you want to ensure that everything's okay. You can also schedule it for later, and you can do a send test email. So we're going to click on save and close. So we can navigate back here, and as you can see, we've set up all the basics, so you're ready to get started with Omnisend and email marketing. Okay, congratulations. We're pretty much finished building our website. The final steps is basically changing the colors on your website, as well as changing the fonts and typography. But before we actually get into editing the colors on your website, I do want to explain a little bit about colors before you do that, because sometimes you can pick random colors and it makes the website look really messy. So the first thing to think about is understanding your brand. You want to think about your brand personality. Is it playful? Is it professional, luxurious, or minimalist? This is going to help guide the overall mood of your website. The second thing to understand is your audience. So you want to pick colors that appeal to your target customers. For example, if you pick bright and fun colors, it might target a younger audience. Or if you go for more muted tones, then maybe an older audience. The other thing to understand is going to be your competitors. Do you want to pick something that aligns with the industry standard? Or do you want to purposely stand out with a unique color palette? Then you also have to take into consideration the basic color psychology. So different colors trigger different emotions. For example, blue equals trust and calming. Red is the color of energy and urgency. Green is the color of nature and balance. Black represents luxury, elegance, and simplicity. So once you take into consideration those things, you also have to consider what type of website are you building. So right now we're creating a print on demand, which is going to be an e-commerce website. So an e-commerce website is going to be slightly different from a service-based type of website, because the e-commerce website, the main goal is to highlight the products and to evoke emotion as well as to create desire for the products. There's going to be more emphasis on the photography, and the rest of the layout and colors is going to be more simple and clean with very minimal colors, right? Because that just focuses more on the photos, and you really use the photos to sort of showcase your products that you are selling. But with a service-based business, the goal is to build trust, to communicate clarity, as well as to convert leads. So sometimes there may be more colors because you also want to differentiate from your competitors, as well as the visual style being a little bit different, because you're not selling sort of like physical type of products that you wear, but you might be showcasing how your product works through screenshots, UI mockups, or explainer graphics, as well as illustrations and icons, which are very common for like SaaS businesses instead of photos. So let's take a look at Louis Vuitton, and if you scroll their website, you're gonna see a very simple color palette. They just use neutral colors, white space, dark gray, and light gray, and the rest is gonna be focused on the photography of their products. So the same thing with this website here, skims.com. You can see that it is very neutral. There is not too many colors. Their main color, I think, is just the color of their logo, which is sort of like a gray type of brown or dark brown color. Same thing here. So this is another website selling children's clothing. Very, very simple and clean. Again, focused on the photography. The footer section is just neutral colors as well. H&M, same thing. Ralph Lauren is the main color is going to be like a dark blue type of color, but it is used sparingly on the website. So again, main focus is going to be on the photography as well as the sort of colors that they use in the photography and the style of it, right? So this is going to be different from SaaS businesses and other service-based business websites. For example, Zendesk, which is essentially a software as a service. So they have sort of like a help desk service software where e-commerce companies and all type of companies actually use to sort of process customer inquiries and customer questions. So as you can see, they use the green color quite nicely, but there is more emphasis on the colors as well as the different graphics and icons on the website. Same thing with Xero. So this is sort of like an accounting software for small businesses. Their main color is blue, but then they've also got like light blue and green on the website. There's just more color on the website. So if we look at choosing the colors on a website, you can actually go to a website called color.adobe.com. So generally, if you're building like a service-based business website, you can use the different color harmonies over here, and you can use the color wheel to play around with it and see which color you actually like. So you don't have to use all these colors here. You can choose one primary color and then one secondary color and then one accent color, and that's it, right? You don't have to use all these colors, or you can, but generally with more colors, it's gonna create a little bit harder to sort of match, especially if you're a beginner in web design and graphic design. But if you are a professional, then obviously you can use a lot more colors and you can do whatever you want, right? There's another way of generating a color palette is you can extract it from an image. So you can find an image that you like, you can select a file, and you can find an image, let's say for example, this image over here. You can upload that and it's gonna pull the colors here. And if you're happy with the color palette, then you can save the color palette and use it on your website. But right now we're actually creating an e-commerce website. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to keep the color palette fairly simple, and we're going to focus more on using neutral shades, for example, light gray, dark gray, as well as white, to create a clean and timeless design. So this ensures that your product photography pops more, and then you can focus more on that to evoke emotion as well as create desire. You can also then pick another main color if you do want to add an additional color to your website. So I'll show you guys exactly how I'll actually approach it. So navigate to the front end of your website, and on the top here, on the top left, you can click on Customize. Then you can click on the Themify Options tab. And here we're on the Basics tab. If you do want to have more options, you can click on the Advanced tab. So every single section here, you can click into it and you can actually change the color of it. So for example, like the header section, you can change the header background color. And if you go down, scroll down here to the footer section, you can also change the footer wrap, which is the footer background color as well. And you can edit each and every single individual one here, right? But I think sometimes that's not a good option, because then you have to sort of manage everything and then you have to change all the colors and things like that. And there's really not much need for it most of the time. So we can just go ahead and delete that. And I think the most easiest way for most people is to use the accent colors here. So right now the accent color is set to the default, which is going to be the yellow color, right? And I want to change that. So here we can change the theme accent color. So if you change the theme accent color, for example, to purple, it's going to change the accent colors like that, right? And you're going to see it reflected here as well, okay? And a little bit throughout the website. So what I'm going to do, because we're building an e-commerce website, I want to keep everything very minimal and clean. Then I'm going to change it to maybe like a dark gray, for example, 222, like that. And then the theme accent hover color. So what is the color when you hover over that? I'm going to change it to 333. So it's going to be a little bit lighter. So when you hover over it, it's going to be a little bit lighter. All right. And then the semi-accent color. So the semi-accent color can be your primary color that you choose for your print-on-demand brand. So it can either be another dark gray. So for example, you can go back to Adobe Color and you can pick a main color that you are going to use for your brand. For example, you might use the color in your t-shirt designs, or you might use the color on your social media, your logo, basically all across your website, as well as just everything that you touch with your brand, right? That's going to be your main color. So for example, I think this color might be okay, this type of orange color. If it's okay, then I might stick with this one and copy that, right? I'm also going to save it over here, and then we can come back to the website and then we can add the semi-accent color. So the semi-accent color is going to appear in just some of the areas on your website. And one thing that you can do is you can add it to your color palette for your website over here. So then when you want to sort of sprinkle it on your website, then you can just click here and then it's going to come up with the color code. That way you're not picking a random color every single time. And then we can click on publish. So another way that we're going to add it to our website is, let's click on our shipping page. You can use this color for your links as well. So you can go to body link and we can set in that color for your body link. Okay, so for example, we have a link here that links to another page. We can use that same color here. Then if you do want to edit that again, you can click on body link hover. So basically you can set in a hover color. So right now it's going to hover a dark gray, but if you do want to change it, then you can update it here as well. So a really nice website that you can go to is 0 to 255, and you can essentially just put in that color code here on the top left and click on enter. You may need to create a free trial account. So right now I'm on the free trial. You can pick a color which is 2 shades darker or 2 shades lighter, and that can be your hover color. So we can click on that to copy that to your clipboard, come back here, and then we can paste that in here, right? And we can also add that to the color palettes here. So for example, when people hover over that, it's gonna go 2 shades darker. So once you're happy with that, you can click on publish. You can also go ahead and edit the rest of your website with the color that you've chosen, or you can keep it relatively simple as well. So for shipping, you can change the color to your sort of main semi-accent color as well, the same one here, or you can keep it very neutral as well. So I think right now it is a good balance because you don't want to have too many colors. Like we said earlier, for our e-commerce website, you want to focus more on the photography. So if you're happy with that, then we're going to go ahead and edit the fonts on your website. Before we actually get into editing the fonts on your website, I'm going to explain a little bit about it so that you guys don't get confused, because there's so many different options and it can get very, very overwhelming. Choosing the right fonts for your website is super important. They influence your brand's personality, user experience, as well as the overall readability. So there are hundreds of options to actually choose from, but which one should you actually pick? So first of all, you want to understand your brand. Again, same as when you were to choose the colors for your website. So for example, what is the tone of your brand? Is it modern, playful, elegant, or serious? Who is your audience? Is it young creatives, professionals, parents? And what emotions should your website evoke? So when we actually break it down, there are 2 different typefaces. One is the sans serif typeface and the other is the serif typeface. So the main difference is in actually how it actually looks, right? So for example, the sans serif, it has plain edges and the strokes are also even width. So it looks more modern, minimal, clean. It's used by a lot of websites, for example, Apple, Nike, Google, Uniqlo. Then you've got a serif typeface. So these ones have curves on the edges. For example, if you look at the T and you look at the Y, it's different. This one is plain. And then it also has thick and thin strokes. So here is thinner, and then here is a little bit thicker. This one, it looks a little bit more elegant, a little bit more classic and traditional, maybe trustworthy as well. It's often used in luxury or editorial brands such as blogs. It's used by Vogue, Tiffany & Co. and the New York Times. So in general, this is mostly used for headings and only sometimes in the body font. So the first step is choosing a font for your body text first. This is going to be the most common font that you're going to be using on your website. It's going to be used in the paragraphs, long form content. So you really have to prioritize the readability. So one of the best ways to actually find a font is going to fonts.google.com, and you can actually filter by the top fonts here, right? So Google fonts are actually free fonts and you can use these on your website, and I'll show you guys how to actually select it on your website too. So here we can choose the most popular one. So that's what I generally like to do, because generally the most popular font, it looks really good, but if you actually click into it, it actually has a lot of different font weights. So for example, it's got the thin version, like a thin and italic, extra light, and then it goes all the way up to the bold ones, right? So here it has a lot of versatility, and you can use these different font weights on your website for your headings as well to keep everything consistent. So that way you don't really have to choose like another font for your heading. It just makes things a lot easier. And again, if you actually look at a lot of websites, they don't have too many fonts either. We can also use a tool called WhatFont, and you can download it as a Chrome extension. You can hover over it and you can see that here they're just using vanilla sans. So I think this is a paid font, but again, they don't really incorporate too much fonts on their website, right? Everything is very, very consistent, and I recommend only 1 to 2 fonts max. So for example, you want one for your body, then you want one for your heading, or you can just use one, and then you can use different font weights for your heading. So let's take a look at the fonts over here on the Google fonts. So Roboto, Open Sans, these are very, very popular. Noto Sans, Montserrat, Inter, these are very, very popular fonts that you can definitely get started with and that I recommend, especially for your body font. So you can also scroll down here and you can also filter by serif and sans serif fonts as well. So let's say, for example, we want to select just the sans serif, you can click on that, or if you want to deselect it and just select the serif fonts, you can also select that. So these ones here are good for headings. So if you want, you can choose one of these, probably like the top 5 here for your headings, and then maybe for your body, you can choose a sans serif type, right? So for my website over here, I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to go and customize, and I'm going to use the Montserrat font. So for example, we're going to go themify options, and you can click on body, the body font here, and then here we can select it and select that, and then it's going to update for your entire website as well, right? So for the font weight, as you can see, we have a lot of different font weights that we can choose from. And I think this font weight, which is set at 500, I think it's not too bad. So I'm going to keep it as that. You can also set it maybe to 400. I think 400 might be the default. You can do that as well. Okay, so we can click on publish. Now you can also control the headings from here as well. So for example, this one that we've set in here. So for example, here we've set it as the heading 1, and you can edit that as well. So for example, if you want to change it, the headings to a serif typeface, then let's say we want to change it to Playfair Display. Go over here, search for Playfair, and then click on Display. It's going to change it here. For the font weight, we might up it a little bit. All right, maybe to 700. Then it's just going to really change the style of your website as well, right? Then you can also edit the heading 2 as well. You'd probably want to keep it the same one. So same one, Playfair Display, like that. And then you want to keep your headings consistent. This one is the heading 3. Scrolling down here. Also change it to Playfair, like that. Okay. Or you can, remove that as well. Really depends on what you want for your website. So again, try to keep it at 1 to 2 fonts max. But I think even just 1 is almost enough for most people. But yeah, so it's really up to you how you want to style your website. But keep it simple and choose one of the most popular Google fonts. Sometimes if you don't see your Google font, you have to go to the dashboard area and you have to go to the themify settings, and you can enable all the Google fonts to display. So general, click on Google Fonts here, and then you can also show all Google fonts, right? It's going to take a little bit longer to load on your website, so keep that into consideration. You can also download the fonts to your local server as well. That way it's going to load a little bit faster, okay? And then once you're ready, you can click on save, and then you'll be able to choose some of the other Google fonts. I also want to show you guys how you can actually edit the product layouts. So right now we're on the shop page, and let's say if we click into a product, you can also hide and show certain things, as well as changing the description location as well. And you can also turn on the builder to add more content below here. So if we actually go back to our dashboard, so I'm going to open it in a new tab, and I'm going to navigate to the themify settings. So navigate to themify settings. Then over here, we're not going to click on the default layouts because that's going to be editing the single post layout, which is the blog post, as well as the default page layout, which is like your home page, about page, and things like that. We're going to navigate to the shop settings. And if you want to edit the product page, you can click on single product page, and you can actually change the layout of it. So for example, you can change the image to the right-hand side if you want to, and you can also hide certain things. So for example, if you want to hide the product sharing button, which is over here next to the add to cart, you can hide that. So for example, let's hide that one. You can also hide the shop breadcrumbs. So the breadcrumbs is on the top over here. So generally I actually leave that as is. Let's say for example, you want to hide the SKU, this one, it's going to hide this number here. So we can do that. You can also hide other things like the product tags, as well as disabling the product reviews and things like that. So if you're happy with that, you can click on save, and we can refresh it, and the changes should reflect. You can also change the description, location. So let's click on edit product. So when we publish the content automatically went into the long description area. So we can cut that and remove the spacing there. We can scroll down and we can navigate to the short description, and then you can add the content in here as well. So this is going to display on the right hand side of the product. Then over here, we can click on update. And if we click on view product, you can also click on the link here. Then you should see the descriptions showing on the right hand side. You've also got this Google Pay icon. So when you've actually connected the WooCommerce payments, let's navigate to the payments and then click on the settings. So we can actually remove that if we want to. I don't think it looks that good actually. So we can navigate to the express checkouts and then click on customize. So here we can choose the display location. So I personally don't want it to show on the product page. So I'm going to deselect that and then I'm going to save it. So you can also change how it looks as well over here. But once that is saved, we can go back and refresh. Then that has disappeared. So what I want to show you guys now is essentially how the checkout process works and how the orders will be fulfilled on Printify. So before we actually do a test order, you can go to the dashboard section and we can actually do a sort of test credit card. So if we go to the payments over here, click on settings, we're able to enable test mode. So basically you're able to just put in a random credit card number and it's going to process a test transaction. So you can select this option here, and below here, you can also enter in your details, for example, your support email and your phone number. And once you're ready, you can save it and that should be all good to go. So then the test mode is going to be activated. So then let's go navigate to our store. So let's go ahead and add a product. So for example, this t-shirt here, we can browse it. And if you're ready, then we can click on add to cart. It's going to appear over here. We can view cart or you can go straight to checkout. So from here, your customer will be able to enter in their email address. They can also select email me with news and offers. They'll need to fill in their shipping address and select the shipping option they would like. For example, maybe express shipping. So here, as you can see, it's on test mode. So you can copy the test card and paste it in here. Then we can set the expiration date. So just a random one in the future. And then you can also input a random security code. Your customers can also set in a coupon code if they have one. And then you can click on place order. All right, so the order has been received and you can view the details here. You can also navigate to the dashboard section and then hover over WooCommerce, and you can also check the orders here. And if we navigate to our email, so our email inbox, here is going to be the new order. So this is basically for you. You'll be able to see what your customer has ordered. Your customer will also get an email thanking them for their order and the order is being processed. Then on Printify, which is the print on demand service that we have connected, the order should also sync into here. So you can refresh the page and you can navigate to orders. And as you can see, we have the new order here. So we can click into that and it's going to pull in your customer's information as well as their order, exactly what they've ordered. And you can also edit the details here. You can submit the order manually or you can cancel it and you can edit it here. If we head back, you can also set the approval. So do you want it to be approved automatically or manually or after an hour or after 24 hours? So by default, it's set to 24. And I think that's good because sometimes a customer may want to change the order. Then you will have time to actually change or cancel anything like that. So the tracking notifications will also be sent to your customer's email that they've inputted for their order. Essentially, the order is going to be fulfilled by Printify. They'll send them the tracking notification and it'll be sent to them. So after that, you don't really need to do anything. You can also check out the Printify Connect. So Printify Connect is basically the premium subscription service, basically allowing you to actually save on the products. So I think this is only good if you actually start making, a decent number of sales. That way you're able to cover the monthly cost for the membership. Another really important thing is that we can navigate to our website and we can click on here on the top left, the store coming soon icon. And you want to make sure you take your site visibility, change it to live. and then save. Then you also want to go to your payments and just enable that. So you want to go to the settings here and basically just enable the live payments so you can disable that and save. Also, a recent new feature that WooCommerce have actually added, you can navigate to WooCommerce settings and then go to the advanced tab, then click on the features tab. They've actually enabled a experimental feature here, which is the email improvements. And you can select this. This basically enables the modern email design as well as a live preview for transactional emails. So as you can see here on the email, this is basically the new emails that your customers will get. So I think it looks a lot better than the old one over here. So you can definitely check that out, as well as some of the other features as well. And once you're happy with the website, you can hover over here and you can log out. To log back in, you'll have to navigate back to your website /wp -admin, and then click on enter. And then you'll be directed back to the login page. And only when you log in, then you'll be able to edit your website again. Congratulations, we have finished this tutorial. The last step is updating your theme. So every now and then you may get a message to update to the latest version of the Themify shop theme. What we actually need to do is you'll need to do it manually, and in the video description of this video, you'll see a link that links to my website, so hoganchua.com/update. And if you need to update the theme, you can download the Themify shop theme, which is the theme that we use in this tutorial. So download it onto your computer and you can come back to your website over here. Then what you can do is you can go to Appearance, Themes. As you can see, we've actually activated the Themify shop child theme before when we installed the theme earlier. So what we need to do is we need to basically deactivate it first. So we need to activate another theme. So activate that one. And we need to delete the Themify shop theme. And then basically we need to re-upload the new version that you downloaded from my website. So over here, I'm going to click onto it and then delete it. Okay, so you can leave the Themify shop child theme. So just leave that there. So once that theme is activated, then you can click on add new theme, click on upload theme, choose file, and then you can upload the newest version of the theme. Click on open, install. So once that is installed, you don't need to activate it. You can go to the themes page and you can reactivate the Themify shop child theme, or you can use this one as well if you want to. But right now we do have the child theme, so I'm going to activate this one and then that should be good to go. So if we navigate back here, Themify settings, and we click on the change logs. So this is the newest version of the theme and that is good to go. Another option that you have is to actually get the Themify membership. So you can click on the link here and you can actually purchase that theme, which basically gives you 1 year of access as well as automatic updates as well as support. So you get access to the members area and you can access the support forum where you can actually submit tickets. So this is especially great if you are taking your website seriously and you want to edit your website and you need some help, then it's a really great option. So this theme, we've actually partnered up with Themify, so that's why I'm able to share it with you guys for free. And another really cool plugin is the actual Builder Pro plugin. So this plugin actually enables you to sort of build out the product page manually. So you can make the design of that page fully customized to anything that you want. So I think I do have a tutorial on my channel for that, and you can check that out as well. So if your website is ready, just make sure to click on the live here or the coming soon and take your website live and save changes, and then you should be good to go. So thank you guys for following my tutorial. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section below and I'll try and get back to you